How's it going, folks? Taylor Wilkowski here, back with part 2 of Beckman's dog training. So this is going to be a twofer. We're going to see this short little video that I happened to see the other day, and then we'll be going over a video that he talks about how to teach a dog to reliably come off leash. And so I'm just using this as a great tool of basically what not to do when teaching a fearful dog. One that growls, like in this episode, I change methods after getting growled at. So what does he change? Does he change from being negative to positive, or does he change from being positive to negative? I had a little sneak peek, and it's the latter. So I want to use this as an example, or a great example to teach you what not to do. So this is just being used under Fair Use Act for criticism, educational purposes, and I'm trying to give you commentary and my opinion on what I disagree with, what I agree with, what I would do differently, and kind of give you a better idea of what the dog may be thinking and not just what the human is telling you they're thinking. So if you're interested in listening to that, then let's get started.
Closer to me. Okay.
So this, just for reference, he's been sitting here. This is, I think, a rescue dog or a mix of some sort. She's very shy. She's reactive on leash. She bolts out the door. Okay, she's very nervous. So he's been sitting here, and he's going to be tossing some treats to her or dropping some treats near him to help desensitize her.
I'm going to do a whole video on this. Getting treats is good. Treat on my knee.
I agree with that. This is the part that I agree with. Now look how he looks away as the dog is getting one from his knee. That's perfect. That is spot on. That's exactly what I would do. You don't stare at a dog that's nervous. Look at her body language. She has a curved top line. Her tail is held down. This is where her hackles would go up. Her back legs are kind of stiff over here, and she's kind of leaning in for that little treat. Terrific. A lot of times I've worked with many, many, many dogs like this in a shelter, outside of a shelter, recent strays, feral dogs, and a lot of dogs that are just very fearful, who have been adopted or just raised to be very fearful. There's a lot of reasons a dog could be fearful. It could be genetics. It could be they're in pain. It could be they've just been taught bad lessons or they've never been taught. So I always teach a dog, when I'm working with them, I never hold eye contact. I never stare at a dog, regardless, even if they're not a nervous dog. If they're a friendly dog, I still don't hold eye contact with them because it's intimidating.
A lot of movements.
So very good that he looked away. You can teach the dog that eye contact is good. He's going to sit down here.
And
dog kind of jumps.
Like that little move there where she gets all scared. She's just got to get over it. Like, I've just got to keep moving. She's got to keep flinching.
Now, that's one thing that I would say that I agree and disagree with. I agree with it that, yes, there's a time and a place to try, certain methods. Okay, so is this dog, can I just teach them to habituate to me moving, by having a slow rhythmic timing, where hand up, hand down, hand up, hand down, very slow, very monotonous, just very gentle. And then during that time, tossing a treat to them or dropping a treat for them and letting them know that, hey, this is going to happen. I'm going to raise my hands. And my goal is that they're not jumping when I do. If I raise my hand, they jump. Next time I'll raise it less, or I will, take less of a half step, or I will just kneel down just a little bit. I won't, I'll squat. I won't completely sit down, or I'll just tap the desk a little like that. Making sure. Trying to see if Adonis is going to react to that. But like that, if the dog barks, then just one little knock, something like that. You just slowly build it up to desensitize the dog. Or you just keep raising your hand the same intensity, and some dogs are okay with that. Some dogs need the slower route. So you have to be able to adapt very quickly, and efficiently when working with dogs, especially dogs that are very fearful. Because I always tell the students and the people that I work with that if it looks like you're doing nothing at all, you're doing it right. You don't go to an area, or you don't start your dog reacting and going crazy. Oh, good boy. You don't react and start going crazy to get your dog to react so you can punish them, because they don't learn anything. They just learn what to avoid. They don't learn that it's not a scary bad thing that the garbage truck is going by. So
then eventually she doesn't flinch. And there was a low growl there. Did you hear that?
Good. Now, did you see, let's go back when he talks about the low growl, because I just happened to notice that he's probably holding, right there, he's holding eye contact. It looks like it. If it looks like it to me, I could only imagine what it looks like to the dog. I don't think he's looking at her nose. Now, this is a common thing that humans do. A lot of times humans, it's very natural to make eye contact because we're being direct. We're trying, a lot of times it's a sign of respect. Where I'm looking you in the eyes. I'm not avoiding eye contact. Except for with animals. It's very intimidating. So I'm always aware, especially with a fearful dog. A dog coming up to me like this, I'm not going to hold eye contact. Or if I'm looking at a dog, I'm going to break it first. I'm going to be the first to break it. I never, ever, ever wait for the other dog to break eye contact first, because that is just very dangerous. It can easily lead to a bite. It can worsen the behavior. I'm not here to intimidate or be the bigger one. I'm trying to teach them what to do. And if I have a dog that is in my face and maybe growling, or even just this close and growling and I feel slightly uncomfortable, then I'll toss a treat away from myself. I want to teach the dog it's a good thing to move away. Dogs do not naturally think to move away from what scares them. They might jump a little bit, but if they get really scared, they kind of stiffen up. They don't want to move away because maybe they feel like they could be weaker that way. Not weaker in the sense of being dominant, but weaker in the sense of I'm showing my side to you. That's a vulnerable spot. You know, you could try to hurt me there. So I want to face you. I don't want to turn my back to you because you could hurt me. So we'll see what this guy says.
And there was a low growl.
Again, holding up contact, and that's where the growl came from.
Nervous growl. You're fine.
Okay, the camera person doesn't really help. They're kind of sneaking around. They make the dog a little more nervous, and it seems like he's starting to kind of lose his patience with the dog.
Like tone can be growl.
Well, she's nervous.
You're fine. You're fine. Chill out. Like tone can be important.
Okay, seems like he's starting to lose his patience with the dog, which this takes a lot of patience, especially if it's a board and train. I only ever work with these, dogs period, in the owner's home. But especially if I ever have the ability to have a board and train, unless it's absolutely dire, I can get a head start on the dog in making them comfortable. But I would really, really want to be working with the owners so that they can have other people over. They can work with the dog. Obviously, the dog's going to be comfortable with the owners. But they can have other people over and they can follow the same protocol. Just sit there, ignore the dog, toss some treats, look away, and just be a piece of furniture.
Like, relax.
Again, holding eye contact, holding eye contact,
Sit.
Holding eye contact. And then he commands her. And I say command because of the way he said it. It's his second worst growl happens now. You can't hear it. So we're going to go back
can be important.
and watch
Relax.
this.
Relax. Sit. All right.
Okay? So this is where I feel like he is taking it personal. When she growled, he said sit. More of a commanding tone. First off, I don't care about a dog sitting. Period, really. I mean, unless it's obedience. I mean, I'm not big on the obedience and commanding and controlling and all that. Especially not a dog who is nervous and a dog who is growling at me. I could care less if they sit. If a dog growls at me, well, one, I'm not going to be looking at them. But if I happen to give them a fraction of a second of eye contact, a lot of times that'll set the dog off. They're very predictable. And a lot of times I'll tell my students and clients and say, hey, if I look at your dog now, I give them this much eye contact, and that's me darting my eye to the dog and back, they're probably going to growl. And I do it, and sure enough, they growl. Now I'm doing that as an example. Doesn't mean I need to. But if I have a dog that close to me, I'll toss a treat away from me. If I need to escape out of an area and I feel threatened, then I'll toss some treats away from me. I'll calmly stand up. Maybe I'll move away. Maybe I'll make sure I'm less cornered. I'm not backed up against a wall. Maybe I'll put something in between myself and the dog, or if it ever needs to get to that. Which sometimes it has. I've worked with dogs with a serious bite history, and that is pretty scary. But dogs are still very predictable unless you make them unpredictable. Unless you punish the growls, and then it goes straight to a bite.
So, that I hadn't heard. So I got low, okay? And I'm sitting there and I'm staring at her. And instead of backing...
Okay, so that's the problem. Is he's staring at her. You don't stare at a dog, period.
away, she decides to just stare at me and growl.
So he says instead of her moving away, she decides to sit there and stare. I don't know that she necessarily decided that. She just doesn't know anything else. She is scared. She is nervous. So she's going to hold eye contact with you. She doesn't know to break it. So that's your job as a professional to teach her to break it. And that's why I don't hold it an eye holding contest with dogs. I don't have a staring contest with dogs because you're not teaching them anything good. You're just intimidating them.
That isn't okay. So things are shifting a little bit. Is the dog nervous? Yes, the dog's nervous. But what I've heard before is like a low pitch walk away and do like a whine. That was a growl for zero reason.
Okay, so that's my big problem here is, one, he talks about the difference between a growl and a whine. Like, I don't want my dog to growl or whine either. I will still help. I expect it if I have a nervous dog, and I will help them through that. But a dog does not growl for no reason. The dog growled because he was staring at it, and he was holding eye contact for a long period of time. The dog didn't know what to do, so she growled as a way to get him to move away because she doesn't know she can move away. Again, your job to teach the dog that. Anyone who, when I first heard this, I automatically thought, what an idiot. Like, you're an idiot. You're a dummy. The fact that he's a dog trainer, a professional, and he says that this dog growled at me for no reason, even though he admitted that he was staring at her. Like, I don't know if those two connect.
For nice guy.
Dog doesn't care if you're a nice guy. I'm sorry to say that the dog does not know you. Even if you have given this dog everything it's ever wanted as a dog, they don't care what your intentions are. They care about what you do and your history with them and how you interact with them. And you have been nothing but staring at this dog and now commanding them to sit and yes, giving them treats. But we remember the negative things over the positive because that's what keeps us alive. And the most instinctual being of our soul and of a creature, our most basic instincts are we remember the bad things because it keeps us alive. Like Dr. Phil would say, it takes 1,000 attaboys to get rid of one stupid. And even then, you'll probably still remember the stupid. This dog is going to remember that. They looked at him, he growled. Or I'm sorry, he didn't growl. The dog looked at him, he stared and held that, and then she growled, and then he said, sit, and he, snapped his fingers or put his hand up. I don't know if he snapped his fingers, but he put his hand up, and he's, and then he stands up, and then he gets more controlling and intimidating.
Guy who's been only nice to her, feeding her treats, she thinks it's okay to 8 inches away from my face growl at me?
She doesn't think it's okay. She just doesn't know what else to do. So that's your call. And the fact that you take it personal and you're teaching people as a professional that you take it personal is just something that I would not do. I mean, trust me, I've been in a lot of cases where dogs have growled at my face and it's hard not to take it personal. But if you're instructing people, if I'm making an instruction video or I'm trying to teach people, I want to admit like, hey, I might take it personal, but you really need to try not to. It's okay. I mean, you can't control your feelings, but you need to make sure your feelings do not control your actions. Do not take it out on the dog. If a dog growls, if a dog attacks someone, a dog does whatever in area where humans are within the vicinity, it's not the dog's fault. It is never the dog's fault because the dog was either raised by a human who didn't know what they were doing. The dog was reinforced by something around humans. Some human intervention, unless it's just, popped up out of the air, came flying in from space and then just attacked you, which is not real. There's always a reason. It may not be you directly the reason. You may not be the direct reason why a dog may bite you. But it's still a human issue that has caused it.
It's not okay. Does that mean we're going to punish her for it? No, but it means things change a little bit. That had not seen. I'm glad all that happened.
He's going to say he's not going to punish her, but I guarantee he will. In some way. You may not find it punishing, but the dog will. And I will.
On video, and I hope you heard it. She was about right here.
It doesn't matter if she growled.
It was a low growl, but I hope.
It doesn't matter if we heard it.
But we're a little over the, oh my God, we're going to be so soft with you because you're a scared dog.
So he's taking it personal. Again, he's mocking the dog. I've had plenty of dogs that growl at me and I still give them treats. I'm not rewarding that growling. I'm tossing it away from myself. I teach the dog a different behavior. And you know what? They learn when they're nervous, move away.
I'm going to feed you. No. You have the
no more Mr. Nice Guy, right?
To just growl at somebody that's done nothing to you.
It doesn't matter. she doesn't know you. You don't have to do anything to her. You can give her treats all day long and you can still trip into the door and make a loud noise and she will no longer trust you. And you just have to desensitize her through that. This dog, again, does not know you. She's skittish. She's probably been here for maybe 24 hours, if that. He already knows she has separation anxiety. She bolts through the door. She's a very nervous dog. He knows that she's more nervous with men than women. There's a lot of reasons for that, just biologically.
I'm not going to be mean to her, but I am a little bit over.
But he's going to be very predatory. Watch how this poor thing. Look at her running away. She's cowering. She's scared. He's going to be very predatory. He's going to cut her off. He's going to block her. He's going to make her more afraid of him now. Tries to chase her. Tries to corner her. Very dangerous, by the way.
There's that. Sit.
She's whining. She's not going to sit for you, dude. Don't bother with this sit. And by that, not only is he trying to be controlling, he's taking away the ability to use that as anything positive, because he's going to use it as a sit so I can leash you and trap you, and in the dog's mind, they'll feel trapped, and it'll feel more like a correction than just a cue that they can do. This poor thing. Poor little thing.
She's not
Don't
going near
do
Carly.
this.
Sit.
Lip lick
Good
again.
girl.
Wow, amazing. You got her to sit because you cut off all of her. This is learned helplessness, by the way, which is going to help for the second video we're going to be going over. This is learned helplessness. He cuts off all of her. This is how he teaches a dog to be caught off leash. No joke. Like, we're going to go over it, but he cuts off all of her escape routes. He's probably staring at her in the eyes. She says that didn't work. She's not really an aggressive dog. She's just very nervous, but he can easily make her an aggressive dog. He can make her a dog with a bite history by doing all of this.
Stay.
She doesn't know stay. She doesn't know any of that. She's trying to escape. He's using these cues at a bad time. They don't mean anything.
Stay. You're okay. Everything's okay. We're just going to put a leash on. God.
Now see how he gets nice and calm when he goes to get her leash, probably because he's 2 inches from her and she could bite him, and he's smart enough to not get bitten, or who knows why. He just changed his mind all of a sudden. It doesn't matter though. You can chase the dog and then say, "Oh, I love you. I just punched you upside the head, but here, I love you." And a lot of dogs will still love you back. As a stranger though, they don't. This dog doesn't care now that he's being nice. He's already trapped her on a leash.
It's that middle of the road. Like.
Again, he's giving, oh, look at that. He's giving her, sorry, I'm going to try and be calm. He's giving her very light leash pops, like leash tugs. I'll say tugs to be nice.
It's that middle of the road.
Okay, watch. Tug. Tug.
But I'm not going to be.
Tug.
Quite
he
as
won't let her
soft
sniff.
as I
He's
started
dragging
this
and
video
forcing her
out
to
with,
come near
because
him.
it's not all just
Tug.
fear.
It is entirely fear. It is not, I'm trying to be bigger, I'm dominant. It's none of this with the dog. He, as a human, is probably trying to be dominant, all this nonsense.
It's just not.
Yes, it is all fear, and he's saying it as if it's fact. I mean, I'm saying as if it is fact that this is, from what I've seen from this dog, this is based off of fear. This interaction right here.
Dog sat a foot from me, stared at me in the eyes and growled.
Yeah.
She had 30 feet to leave.
We're going to go back and catch this other tug.
Stared at me in the eyes and growled.
Tug.
She had 30 feet to leave.
She's whining. Now, let me tell you something, Mr. Professional. This dog did not know what to do. Okay? This dog did not get in your face because it wanted to be dominant and growl at your face. You are taking it very personally for a professional. And I think that you should not be trying to teach the public if you don't understand actually how animals think. If you actually think that this dog was trying to one-up you or try to get in your space and be dominant, which I'm sure is in the back of his mind somewhere, he's thinking that he needs to be in charge of this dog, he's controlling enough, then you are in the wrong line of work. You really should not be working with dogs if you think that's what this dog is doing.
Have I been mean to her since she growled?
Yes, you have.
I'm not going to correct it.
Yes, you have.
But things changed. We saw a window into her mind a little bit. That it's not just this, oh my God, I'm so scared of this guy. There's a little bit of fear and a little bit of jerkiness. Like she thinks she can just growl at people.
The fact that he said jerkiness. Now I know he's a total idiot and a total quack, and I don't care what anybody says. Anybody and this is the real me, I'm sorry, I'm trying to be calm. Anybody who labels a dog, I automatically think of that label on them. If they say this dog is an idiot, I think the human's an idiot. If he says this dog is a bit of a jerk, I say you are a bit of a jerk. You are a jerk. This dog does not go up to you to growl for no reason or to be a jerk. So you are not educated from what I've heard of anything that you've been talking about. You do some good things, but you do a lot of things that I disagree with. And you're out here trying to educate people. And this is why I'm trying to educate people against what he's trying to teach you, because a lot more people are going to see this video than anything I do. And you don't even have to believe me. Do your own research. If you want to believe him, fine. By all means, go believe him. Go get yourself bitten. Go whatever. Do whatever. I've never been bitten in my whole career, professionally training dogs for a whole 7 years. I know that's a very, minuscule time compared to everybody else. This guy probably has 40 plus years, or 30 plus years in the dog training business, whatever. He has a board and train, he has a house, he has a whole facility. I just live in an apartment. I make house calls to people. I drive an hour both ways just to go visit people for puppy training, for obedience, for reactivity, for shelter dogs, for bite history, for all sorts of things. I don't recommend anything really, or 90% of what you've seen in this video and what he said, aside from using some treats and sitting there and being calm. So we're going to move on to the next part of this video,